Hello everyone. I'm glad to be back and talking with you again. I'm going to set up a Zoom call probably next week so we can kind of just see each other, talk about some things, and wrap things up as we're coming to the end. Yesterday we were talking about the American novel, and I mentioned about James Fenimore Cooper. In 1823, James Fenimore Cooper was the first greatest novelist, and he's still read today. I mentioned about The Deer Slayer. There are some of the James Fenimore Cooper novels that might be interesting to some of you. Some of you had mentioned on some of your essays that you like the old history and old times in history. So he might be a good person to read about. Cooper wrote the first novel at age 30. The reason he wrote that is that he received a challenge from his wife. They were reading a novel and it just was boring. There was no interest in it at all. So she challenged him to write a novel. And 5 years later, he did. In 1823, he did read it. 5 years after 1823, Hawthorne wrote The Scarlet Letter, which he actually considered a failure in some ways because he was unable to lighten the bleakness of the tale. It doesn't end happy. So he didn't really consider that a successful novel. But not all novels not all stories. Life does not end always in a great happiness, as we've learned with Arlington Robinson reading Richard Cory and just various other works. Mark Twain was the greatest American prose writer after the Civil War. Twain is associated with the local color movement, in which romantic period and the realistic influences were found in writing. Hemingway went on to say that no American novel was as good as Huckleberry Finn had been written before or since. William Dean Howells befriended and promoted to print novelists as diverse as Henry James and Mark Twain. We just finished studying Stephen Crane, and even though he was never in the war, Crane makes the Civil War come to life. He gives the most vivid, impressionistic details that any writer has ever given of the Civil War. And if you've ever read any of his books about the Civil War, it's astounding that he never spent a moment at war. Sinclair Lewis was the first American to win a Nobel Prize. Much of his criticism of society remains relevant today. He wrote several books that, The Babbitt, he wrote things that are dealing with issues that we still deal with today. He wrote a lot about different people that were prestigious and then they end up losing everything, and they live a lie. Walker won a Pulitzer Prize in 1983 for The Color Purple, which was the basis for Steven Spielberg's movie. So I would like to challenge you at some point maybe if you've seen The Color Purple, read the book. See where the differences are, okay? And that'll be it for tonight. Have a great day. Bye-bye.